I'll be honest, like there was days in like after basic training and, you know, you listen to drill sergeants telling you, oh yeah, you can't do this because they do this and this and this to you. So I'd get on the phone and I'd be like, I don't think I got this. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do that. And my mom would always be on the other side of the phone and go, no, fuck that. You made it this far. Fucking keep going. You don't have time to fuck around. So if you quit, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And I'm sitting there and I'm second guessing myself. So even the guys that make it, we all have second guesses of ourselves. We always sit there and be like, man, is this the right route? Am I going to make it? Am I going to do well? And the whole thing is, yeah, you can't just say, fuck you. I'm going to keep on going. It doesn't matter what you say, your experience and who you are. That's not me. And if you go in there and you give it 100%, and let's say you don't make it, but you gave 100%, you're willing to walk away and be excited with that because you gave it everything you got and you're exhausted. And you're like, okay, I gave it everything I got at this moment. It doesn't mean that you can't go back and do it again.
All right, we're ready to go. We'll probably move the microphone.
No, that's off anyway. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah.
Get all pup going crazy.
Just be like, people will be like, oh, we just heard an hour long of just chewing noises. We unsubscribed from your podcast.
Didn't know it was ASMR.
Be like, oh, sorry, dude. The chewing episode.
The chewing episode.
Anyway, we got Logan Lewis here, Black Flag Nation on Instagram. Pretty cool Instagram account. That's actually how I got in touch with you. I found you via your Instagram and a couple other accounts that we have in common. And then you were just in Doylestown for Christmas, and I was like, hey, we got a podcast, come on Monday. And I like did not think this was gonna work at all. And you made it so easy.
Yeah, man. It's I try to make everything easy, try to facilitate everybody. Like there's people who are like, oh dude, come see me at this bar, and I'm like, that's 100 miles away. I don't think I'm gonna come to that one. But you can come to me, I'll buy you a drink or something. But yeah, I'm pretty easy-going, especially you guys were down the road, so I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna go do this podcast on Monday. And I was like checking in with my girlfriend. I was like, can we do anything with it? She's like, yeah, we don't get anything. I was like, all right, cool.
So that's what you're up here for, the holidays and stuff.
Girlfriend's family's up here. She they live like in Warrington and out front. So I was just hanging out here.
It's a small world.
Yeah, it is really small. It's really nice here too. You guys got a nice little area, and I love it here. So
yeah, as you can experience, it was pretty nice out this morning or yesterday. Now it's freezing cold again.
Yeah, I walked out of the gym and it started like snowing on me. I was like, man, this sucks.
Yeah, it was flurrying a little bit. We were outside pretty early this morning. And it kind of just like, it was warm. It was weird when it's warm, when it's still dark out. Yeah. And then as it gets daylight, it gets colder. Yeah. And that's what we got hit with today.
Yeah, when the sun starts coming out, that's the coldest time of the day, so it sucks.
Yeah. So what I found you on Instagram, and your Instagram's pretty cool. What is it exactly? It's like a curated kind of like military appreciation kind of.
Yeah, so like when I first started off, it was kind of like a fitness group. It's kind of like, hey, I have this workout plan that I did when I went to SFAS, and I did pretty well in SFAS. I had like personal problems, so I got dismissed from the course. And it was like day 17. So it kind of sucked, but I was doing really well with like the physical aspects of it. So a lot of guys started asking for it. And, I actually saw that there's somebody that you don't follow. It's a buddy of mine. He's, Soul Snatchers.
Yeah.
Soul Snatchers.
Those guys.
Yeah. So he's a really good friend of mine. And, I was just trying to give him the program. He's like, nah, man, start your own thing. Like do this. And I was like, nah, I'm way too busy. And this is pre-COVID, so I'm like, I'm way too busy. I don't have the time to do this stuff. And plus, I don't even know how to do this. So one night, I got super drunk, and COVID's about to hit, and he's like talking to me while I'm almost blackout. And I'm like, yeah, let's just do it. So we ended up doing it, and I woke up the next day. He's like, hey, man, Black Flag Nation's like up. And I was like, what?
He helped you with your logos and everything like that?
So I came up with the logos. He just created the account and then started like doing, he was like, you can do wherever you want with it. So it started off at like fitness stuff, and then it turned into like, I have a big passion in my life about leadership.
Mm.
Like throughout me being a kid, my dad always told me, 3 things to be successful in this world is responsibility, quality, and quantity. And it's kind of like taking that and applying that to, whatever you do makes you successful. So I kind of ran with that. And you'll see like on every single post that I do is usually like a life lesson or a leadership lesson that I've learned over the years, especially being in my special operations background.
Yeah, you're on the how the universe like brought it all together was I forget what day it was. It was before Christmas or maybe Christmas Eve. I saw your post about like why you joined.
Oh yeah.
And I read that, and I usually selfishly don't really read Instagram posts unless I'm, close with you or actually connected to, in an actual community. I assume that's how everybody lives, but it's not, it doesn't seem to be the case. So I read your post and I was like, damn. And then something happened where I saw that you were close by, and I was like, oh, I just have to reach out.
You'd be surprised how many people hit me up. They're like, yo, man, you're in Bucks County. They're like, did you go to school there? Like, who are you? And I'm like, no, I'm not from this area. I'm actually just from a small town, Indiana. So, that story is actually a really personal story to myself. And it's because a lot of people kind of suffer the same way. Like you go throughout and everybody's always telling you like, it's like, oh, I want to be an airborne ranger, or I want to be special operations. I want to do this. And for a lot of the people, they're always like, yeah, no, you can't do that. That's 1% of the 1%ers. Like there's no way you're able to achieve that. And my only message for that, like that whole thing was like throughout my life,
He'll just dock. He'll just be like,
man.
pet me all day, man.
Hey, what's up? But it's like even going through life, like I had teachers telling me I wasn't gonna do something. I had friends being like, yeah, I think you're setting yourself too high. Even my parents, like my dad, they always want to console you and be like, hey, maybe you're setting your sights a little too high and there's nothing wrong with going lower. And I just refused. And going through RIP in 2008 and doing that stuff, like I had some pretty shitty injuries going through. And
knee injuries?
I had knee. I had a broken rib, dislocated a couple of fingers doing some bear crawls at Cole Range. So that's always a good one. Everybody has a Cole Range story if you're in regiment. So
I heard one about somebody I think almost tripping at Cole Range.
Tripping's
like having like a hallucination. They were just so
yeah. No, that's a common occurrence. Like mine was like I could have swore the cadre got dressed up in bunny suits and were fucking with us big time. Like it was crazy. So I was just like, all right, this is too much for me. But yeah, the whole message was like, as long as you're going through you can be going through the worst shit in the world. And as long as you just tell yourself, be like, hey, I'll quit tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and it's today. So tomorrow I'll quit. And you just keep on saying that to yourself. Like as bad as you want to quit, just keep driving through that day and just like, hey, tomorrow I'll quit. And then just keep saying that to yourself to drive on to get to the next day, and you'll make it. And it's just being resilient through a lot of shitty times. And it kind of goes into life too. Like you might not have the greatest day, but yeah, hey, I'll quit tomorrow on this or whatever it is. So that was that whole principle of that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said. People present like plan Bs for you.
Yeah.
And it comes from a lot of different places. Some people, they don't see it in themselves, so they don't see it for you.
Right.
Some people, like maybe your parents, like your mom or somebody, she just wants you to be safe, or your mom's like, oh, I don't want you to get your feelings hurt. So like maybe it doesn't work out. Just be ready for it. Yeah. But if you don't, and I think that I'm not even that old. I'm 33, but like I've seen a lot of people come up through different businesses or different, obviously military challenges or sports or athletic. And if you don't have it within yourself to just tell yourself all of these things, when you see people ask like famous people or athletes, like, oh, what does it take or whatever, it's just like, buddy, you just you have to kind of do it for yourself, because nobody's going to be there for you.
No, not at all. And it's kind of funny. Like my mom was always the driving force for me. So like background on my mom. All right. My dad, police officer, kind of grew up with that, the cop. I'm the kid that, has cop parents. My mom was a very tough woman, and she actually kind of drove me to the military. Like my family kind of drove me to the military because it was like, hey, we don't have money for college, and so you're either going to have to pay for college or you're going to have to join the military to pay for college, and, all this other stuff. So just kind of figure it out. So I kind of like figured it out. It's kind of like a lot of people are like, man, that's kind of tough. And I was like, nah, it wasn't really that tough. My mom's an ex-bodybuilder back in the day, so she was like, me and my dad be working out in the garage, and she'd come out there and just, slap on 235 and crush it out like it was nothing, and just, like, oh, shit.
Oh, goddamn.
But, yeah, my mom was pretty rough on me. Not rough. I wouldn't say rough. I would just say she was, kind of a tough woman, kind of didn't allow me to be like, oh, I got time for bullshit kind of thing. So they never really presented a plan B to me. Again, setting my sights high, they're always like, hey, it's okay to, do the basic stuff. But at the same time, she kind of like was like, all right, you're going to do this. And I'll be honest, like there was days in like after basic training and, you listen to drill sergeants telling you, oh yeah, you can't do this because they do this and this and this to you. So I'd get on the phone and I'd be like, I don't think I got this. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do that. And my mom would always be on the other side of the phone and go, no, fuck that. You made it this far. Fucking keep going. You don't have time to fuck around. So if you quit, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And I'm sitting there and I'm second guessing myself. So even the guys that make it, we all have second guesses of ourselves. We always sit there and be like, man, is this the right route? Am I going to make it? Am I going to do well? And the whole thing is, yeah, you can't just say, fuck you. I'm going to keep on going. It doesn't matter what you say, your experience and who you are, that's not me. And if you go in there and you give it 100%, and let's say you don't make it, but you gave 100%, you're willing to walk away and be excited with that because you gave it everything you got and you're exhausted. And you're like, okay, I gave it everything I got at this moment. It doesn't mean that you can't go back and do it again. And that's what a lot of guys do. A lot of guys go, they don't make it. They go to the 82nd or 101 or, whatever. And some of them are happy with it. And I get that. And some guys are like, hey, I can't wait to go back. A lot of guys hit me up on Black Flag. A lot of guys hit me up on Black Flag and they're like, hey, what can I do? Like, I just failed out RASP and like I have a medical, like I got medically dropped or I didn't meet the requirements. And my first thing is, hey, make sure you meet those requirements, work at that, go get your Ranger tab because you're going to have to go get your Ranger tab when you're in Ranger Regiment.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't, outside of like the inner circle, don't realize that Ranger tab and scroll are two different things.
Oh yeah, a lot of people will come to me and be like, hey, I'm a Ranger. I'm like, all right, that's cool, bro. The one thing to kind of like segregate those guys and like kind of figure out, be like, hey, how was your cold range experience? Like that's how you're gonna figure it out. Like, hey, are you actually in the special operations community, airborne Ranger, or are you just Ranger qualified? And I know there's a lot of people out there who's like, oh, I'm a Ranger, but they only been in Ranger school. And I'm like, yeah, I know that you want that title, but airborne Ranger is strictly Ranger Regiment.
Yeah, who says it? Tim Kennedy says it a lot. He'll say, I'm a Ranger qualified Green Beret. And what people just like, they just like glance over, but what that means is he went through the Ranger tab training, like the leadership training course,
right?
Which is,
it's respectable.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's not the same as being like a Ranger or in Ranger Regiment.
Yeah, doing the Ranger mission, the Ranger Regiment mission, which is a special operations mission. Going to Ranger school, like anybody can go to Ranger school. I went to Ranger school and I had a SEAL Team 2 guy go with me. So I mean, yeah, it's a great leadership course. It's making you qualified to do the job. And for Ranger Regiment, they send the guys to Ranger school to become leaders. So they've identified you as a potential leader, and they're like, all right, you're going to go to Ranger school. And it's a competition in 75th. Like you would literally have to fight tooth and nail to get your spot. because if there's somebody that beats you by doing a couple more push-ups or beat you by a minute on the 5 mile, you ain't going to Ranger school.
Yeah, because there's only so many Ranger tab schools per year.
Yeah, there's 12 in a year, but there's only a certain slots that each unit gets, and so regiment might be get like 100 across 3 battalions. So then
there's 3 battalions in the 75th.
I think there's 5 now in there. Yeah, it's grown since I left. Yeah,
there's 2 more now.
Yeah.
There's like 3 primary, I guess you could say, like plus 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so the infantry, like the line, you have 1, 2, 3.
Are those like affiliated with like National Guard, or is that just like their own independent? They're not an auxiliary. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think regiment was like, hey, we have a need for military intelligence, so they stood up the RMIB. And then RSTB is just Special Troops Battalion. So you got, I don't even know who's in that anymore. But then you also have RRC, which is Ranger Recon Company or Detachment. And they're pretty cool guys too. But yeah, it's once you get in, they identify you as a leader and they'll be like, hey, you're going to go to Ranger school. And then you're expected to make it through.
Did you go right from basic training through RAS? Like, or did you do a rotation?
So how it goes now it's different than how I went through. I went through in 08. So it was, you went to basic training, you went to airborne school, and then once you completed airborne school, then you went to RIP, Ranger Indoctrination Program, which now has changed to RASP. The difference is RASP is 8 weeks long, RIP was 4 weeks long. But that 4 weeks long, they are beating the crap out of you, man.
RIP's a kind of a cooler name, though.
Yeah, it is.
I just went through RIP.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
RASP sounds like he kind of just like got in a fight with a clan of bees.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of rasps.
I went to RASPs.
You see that wrong.
That's
It's
usually
like he got in a fight with like a hornet's nest.
it's usually my first like when I got into a leadership position, I was like, hey man, how was RASP? And like guys would be like, oh, it wasn't too bad. And I was like, really? Because RIP was like the worst experience of my entire life. Like it's probably second now, but it was like the worst experience of my life. Like I remember my instructors, I remember every word that they told us, I remember what they did to us.
And you deployed a bunch?
Yeah, I've deployed 6 times.
So like that's pretty, you know what though, that's kind of good that the program was that hard though then.
Yeah.
Because if like the training program is the hardest thing that you remember, like or second hardest thing, you know,
Yeah.
then it you know, prepared you, I guess.
Yeah.
At least in that environment, it's important.
I would say RASP is they kind of made a shift over to like, hey, we want guys to be more technologically proficient. Like we want to teach them and more instruct than it is to, because when I went through RIP, like I got to Ranger Battalion and like I had a broken right foot, I had tendonitis in both of my knees, I had Achilles tendonitis, I had a broken right 5th rib and dislocated fingers. I mean, I went through a lot of shit, and when I got to the battalion, I was useless for like the first 6 weeks because I had to wait for everything to get healed up.
So did they scale back the physicality of the training to make you know, more intelligent soldiers rather than, you know, beat up soldiers?
Yeah. I think it was like, hey, we're going to push you a little bit. We're not going to push you too hard, but we're going to push you to get quitters. But I think it was like their weed out process is through doing some of the technical stuff. So maybe like I think marksmanship is one of the requirements if I'm wrong. So that's a way that they weed out. Instead of, for me, it was like, hey, we're going to go to Coal Range and we're going to get you to quit by making the worst pain on you. Like, so we're going to make you low crawl for hours and hit the wood line until
Two schools of thought, I guess.
Yeah. So in the beginning of Coal Range is building the fire, but they don't tell you that. And they're like, all right, hit the wood line, go grab a stick. So, and the wood line's like, what, a quarter mile away?
It's probably close to a quarter.
Yeah. So you're running like a quarter mile to the wood line and then quarter mile back. So you're running half a mile, and they tell you multiple times. It's like throughout the whole day. Like we're talking, this is like, when I did it, it was like 36 hours of just straight doing that. And they just play fuck games all day. And you're building that fire. And then, you know, it gets cold. I went through in December, so it was cold as fuck in Benning. So we just sit there. Oh, yeah, I hadn't even asked. Can we even cuss on here?
Yeah, it's full blown.
Fuck yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, full blown.
I was just sitting here dropping F-bombs, man. I feel so
now
bad.
there's absolutely no way to prevent any of us. We're well-educated pirates here.
Yeah, exactly.
We read books, but we also can't stop from saying the F word.
That's good. All right, cool. All right, because I'm sitting here and dropping them like all day. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm saying so much.
Dude.
No, so like they'll build the fire, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, the night's falling, it's getting colder and colder, and they build this fire, and they're just like, hey, you can go to sleep if I get 40 quitters. I get 40 quitters, and then they tell you this before you start hitting the wood line and shit. They're like 40 quitters, you guys go sleep. They ain't gonna tell you how long you get to sleep, but you get to go sleep. You get to stop. And I remember the fire was just huge, and at this time there's probably like 20 of them, and they're like getting the hot dogs on their sport because we haven't eaten either. And like 20 guys are sitting around the fire, they're all roasting their hot dogs, and the cadre like walks out like to the point to where he can barely feel the heat from the fire, and he sets up formation. Like we're all in formation. He's like, hey, you know, I just need 20 more guys. Give me 20. You give me 20, you guys go sleep. The day's over. And then you wake up tomorrow and we'll just do it again. And they would be like, we'd stand there for hours in a freezing cold. And then one of them, I remember his Sergeant Shanaman, he came out and he had like a hose. And he didn't like spray us. He like let it run, and he would just come up to you and like douse you. And it's December, it's like 30 degrees, and he like dousing you and just like letting it run down the front of your uniform. He's like, hey, you want to quit? You can quit anytime you want, man. Just quit. Just give up. Like, your day's over. You can go over there. You can eat. You haven't eaten today, have you? Hey, how many of you guys eaten today? And they just mess with you hard. And he would just be like, you know, I remember there was one guy in front of me. He would just, like, the guy was doing that, and he was like, he started crying because he just wanted to quit so bad. And you could just see it. And he's just like, and he's like, yeah, just quit. And the cadre feed on it. They're just like, quit. So then another guy comes over. He's like, you crying? You think Rangers cry? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, dude, do not quit, because I have to step up. And like, we all have to backfill. Like, I have to step up into that position. It's going to make me have to take the hose too, man. I don't want this. Don't you fucking quit. And, so I think we ended up getting like, I think he got like 22, and he's like, all right, you guys go sleep. And there's a little place called Circle of Woe. Oh man, the Circle of Woe is like the worst part ever. It's just sand. So now we're all wet, and they're like, all right, go sleep in the Circle of Woe, and we'll wake you up when it's time to start your next day. And it's like 4 a.m. the next day anyway, so we know we're waking up as soon as dawn hits, and we got land nav and all kinds of shit. So they have us out there, and I swear, man, they said I got 2 hours of sleep. I'm pretty sure I got like 10, because I didn't sleep. So it was just like, dude. And then they're waking you up, and they're spraying you with water, and they're dropping arties. They're like, wake the fuck up, and doing all kinds of shit.
What month did you go through?
Yeah.
So you were like,
it was cold enough, but what they did, they brought in a fucking water truck and filled that fucking ditch.
Yeah, the ditch. Oh my god.
And they were like, go through it.
Oh, they made you crawl through the ditch?
Yep.
We didn't get to change like boots or anything until the medic said something. They're like, hey, like dudes are actually going down for like foot issues.
We actually had guys go down for.
I'm not laughing. I'm laughing.
Yeah, so dudes started getting no shit gangrene.
Yeah.
Like a dude had a thing like creeping up his leg.
Yeah.
They were like, we need to get him to the fucking hospital now.
And he's like not quitting.
Yeah,
I remember you told me that he told me, the first time I saw him after all that, I was like, so how you doing? And he's like, dude, no shit, on like the march back, he goes, every step I took, it was like I was walking on broken glass.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was like, I literally looked at him, he goes, yeah.
because
And I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't ask about it for a few more days. I was just like, all right, cool, too soon.
What they don't tell you is like there's a 12. It's like a 6 to 8 12 mile, or 6 to 8. For us, it was a 12-mile ruck march out there, and then there's a 12-mile ruck back. So it's like when you go out there, it's not too bad because you're dry in your feet, but it's still 12 miles and you got like everything in your back. It's like 40 to 50 pounds on your back, and it kind of fucking sucks. But then on the walk back, you have wet boots. Your feet probably haven't left the boots in like 2 days, so your feet are just destroyed. Your knees are tired because you've probably been doing up downs and all kinds of crazy shit, and they're making you the ditch. I remember the ditch. They already had that shit like full up with water when I got there. Like there was a guy standing out there with a fire hose, like filling that bitch up. And by the time we got into it, there was a nice little sheet of ice across it. So like the first couple of guys got in, actually had to break up the ice for us. And I was just like, bro, this is intense. Like this is the worst thing. Like I'm 19 at the time, and I've got grown ass men telling me that I'm the biggest piece of shit because, you know, whatever, because I'm not going through the water fast enough. There was another guy, his name is Mangione, and he would give the most, like, he would give, like, he would go on rants, and he would just be like, yeah, you know, I did this in Afghanistan. I climbed, 3,000 feet up, and then, I'm sitting in a sniper hole, and I'm just waiting for this motherfucker to come through, and so I kill him. I'm waiting, and he's just, like, dogging us down the whole time, and guys are quitting during this. Guys are quitting, hearing this story, and they're like, I can't do this. I would never be able to do this. I'm done. I'm not worthy, kind of thing. And it's funny because you're just sitting there, and you're just like, wow, what the fuck did I get myself into? And I kind of had that mentality. I was like, all right, I don't give a fuck. They can dog as much as you want. They can set me aside, tell me how big of a piece of shit. Because they used to do that. They would do that too. They'd bring you aside, and they'd just be like, hey, you're a piece of shit. You suck. You should just quit. Just quit. And I was just like, no, I'm not. I'm not a piece of shit. And he's like, I don't give a fuck what you think. Like, I see it. You're not gonna make it. You're gonna be a terrible ranger. You should just quit right now. And you're just sitting there, and it's like, am I a piece of shit? Fuck, I might be a piece of shit. All right, well, this piece of shit ain't gonna quit. So,
yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
yeah, it's a great community though. Once you get in, it's like a brotherhood that you can never like I've never met your brother, but like me and him probably sit down and bullshit for years about everything just because it's just how we are. We're all like, when I moved to Fort Walton Beach to take the job that I'm at currently now. Well, yeah, which by the way, if any of y'all are watching, if you're going through Ranger School and you guys got to go back to Florida phase, I'll see you there. It kind of sucks, but good luck.
I'll see you ladies.
I'll see you guys later. But I got down there, and there was a couple of guys from battalion that I've never met, like older dudes, like way before me. Like they got in like when the war started, and I met one of them, and he was just like, "What's up, dude?" Kind of like, and it's like hit off from there. Used to have a buddy of mine. He was my chief of operations for Black Flag. He recently just stepped away because he's venturing off and doing other things. But his name's Dino, and he's from 375. Never met the man. Never met, like, face-to-face. Like, always had a bunch of stuff. But, yeah, he helped me a shit ton, and we would just be bros. And it kind of, like, irritated my girlfriend. She's like, you never met him. Like, how are you guys brothers? And I was like, it's just how it is. Like, we're all just, we, like, embrace each other because we know what we've all been through. And just the small little things that we've been through, and like the Cole Range stories. Everybody's got one, so we love sharing it. And then we talk about further and further about deployments. But one of the guys I actually I ended up hanging out with the most is his name's Byron, and he was in 375. I think BCO. I could be wrong, but he was on Haditha Dam. And if you don't know Haditha Dam, I recommend go read about it. Like the Battle of Haditha Dam in Iraq was an intense battle between the Iraqis and the 375, and it is a crazy story to listen about that. But yeah, he had a bunch of stuff, and
where's he located in the country?
So he's in Crestview. He actually runs a dog training course. It's Coastline K9 up there in Crestview. So he trains dogs now. Just from
road trip. We're starting to get a decent road trip list here.
Bro, you guys come down there. There's beaches like you can imagine.
We've been talking about it maybe in the spring.
Yeah.
Coming down.
Yeah, I'd be cool as shit if you guys came down.
It's just like kind of everything's just, we used to travel a lot, and then the way like things are locked down and then they're not locked down and then they are locked, it's making it very hard to kind of like plan trips out in the future. So we've just been becoming more equipped with road vehicles. And once our fleet is ready, we'll be hitting the open road with the podcast.
Come to Florida. Nothing's locked down really. It's
I hear
very open.
I hear it's like the place to be right now.
Yeah, I like Florida. I like the people down there too. They're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of more laid back. They're not like most of them are retired anyways, so they're just like on the slow flow of everything. They're not like trying to run through everything. I came from Virginia, so DC area, so it was kind of a nice change of pace. But yeah, Florida is pretty cool.
I hear a lot of good things about Florida. A weird thing I did hear about Florida recently that doesn't quite make sense is, you know how like exhaust pipes, you can get those like flame kits to have exhaust shoot out?
Yeah.
I think Florida is the only state that's completely illegal. Which doesn't make sense because that's something you would probably have if you lived in Florida.
Yeah.
Right? That's a completely Florida man thing to do.
Oh, for sure.
It's like a flame exhaust.
Yeah,
Florida
you got to have a
flame
flame
for it.
exhaust. It's like comes standard issue with everything.
You got to fight off the tailgaters.
It's
You have to start taking the stay back sign seriously.
Light you on fire. There's another thing too. Like when I got down there, I didn't know this existed, and I didn't know it was really popular. But the Carolina lean, where they have the big tires on the front.
Oh yeah, and they drop it back.
Yeah,
yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No practical sense to me.
He drops it way back.
I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like,
pull it California lean.
What's the whole point of this? Like, I never understood that.
I mean, it's just something to do.
Yeah, look it up. It's crazy. Look at that.
Yeah.
Like, why?
I don't know. I guess if you know what kind of that reminds me of? It's like you just went to Home Depot and you put a pallet of cinder blocks of concrete in the back of your truck, and you don't have enough weight for it.
The guy's not even sitting behind the steering wheel. He's like halfway hanging out of his window because he can't see. Yeah. So it's like, hey man, you wouldn't have to do that if you just lower the front or just make the back the same.
We're gonna have to find somebody that's got a squatted truck and talk to them about this.
Oh yeah, I would love to. Down to Florida, you'll find one.
Yeah, I think we know a lot of truck people up here, but it's diesel nation up here. No, I don't think anybody up here would do that.
Yeah, it's diesel nation down there too. Kind of like you get those diesel guys. Like I worked with a couple of them. They got some nice trucks. Like I'm just
Florida. The guys down in Florida, like you go to those truck Instagram pages, and I feel like 9 out of 10 of them are in Florida.
Oh yeah,
at the gas stations with their wheels lit up and the wheel well and everything.
Yeah, there's one that parks outside of one of the bars, and that thing is like, I'm 6'2", and I think the bottom of the like where the truck is like eye level to me, and it's huge.
Damn,
it's got like a little elevator that pops out.
I
little
think
crane that comes off the side.
I think the step up ladder actually, like when you step up to it, it like raises you back up to the truck. Like, and I'm just like, what do you do with this? And
I saw a truck like that in New Orleans last time we were down there, like right before the virus broke out. The vid.
Pre-vid.
Before Homicron and all his buddies showed up.
PC.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID.
And this guy had a truck like that, and it said something about keeping the fat bitches out.
Hey.
And I walked past this, and he was the ugliest son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, I don't know if this is something we should be having on the back of our truck here, buddy. But I think it's funny. But he's just like, yo, the truck's so high because it's something about the fat. I was
Not
like,
PC, bro. It's
that's
not PC.
aggressive.
Yeah.
That's aggressive. I was like, oh, geez.
Or the guys on the back, they'll put the sticker, I eat ass. Come on, man. Come on. You know there's
It's like there's little kids on the road.
Yeah,
you're
there's
being such an asshole.
There's some kid in the back seat going, I eat
What's that
ass,
mean,
Dad?
Mom?
What
It's
does
like
that
you're
mean?
making so many people's lives complicated,
Yeah.
potentially.
It's so
I
funny.
think it's fine. when you have like a race car or like a car that you just take to like cars and coffee, if like you don't take the car out a lot, like we have a car that the geez, Ram.
He's like, what's going on?
We have a car where the front license plate has like a Euro plate on it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't completely say fucking quick, but it looks like German letters and just says fucking quick.
That's nice.
And like, we don't take that car out that often, but when we put the plate on the car got a decent amount of like around town. So like every now and then I'm like, I look back on that, I'm like, we probably upset a few people with this.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like there's somebody out there that I don't understand this because I'm this kind of same. Like I'm totally opposite of this. Like people are looking for ways to complain about something
more than ever,
and I don't understand it. It's like, hey. Like, people are like, oh, don't you feel, pissed off that person's bad-mouthing you? I'm like, oh, you know what? You can bad-mouth me. I don't care.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have a decent amount of, like, social presence on the internet, so I guess you probably do get some, like...
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I try to keep a positive vibe on there because, like, a lot of guys hit me up, as usual. They're like, hey, man, I'm kind of struggling with this. And I'm always there. Like, I'll answer it. You can go through all my, like, there's people, they're like, yeah, I Instagrammed this guy and he didn't even respond. I respond to every single person that text me.
Yeah, you responded really quick.
Yeah, I do. It's because I'm like, I try to keep it like, hey, you're important to me. Like your story, like I always hit up people. I'm like, hey, share your story, because if it's a story that has a life lesson behind it, somebody needs that story. And I always hit up like guys in the military, weightlifters. I'm like, hey man, have you ever had like a sticking point? Like where have you had to, like, your challenges and how did you solve your challenge? So
you're like collecting like a catalog of everybody's like experiences.
Yeah, it
kind of sounds like he should start a podcast.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you should.
I don't know.
I don't know. Podcasts, like, I enjoy what you guys do. This is cool. Like, I don't think I have, like, I'm stretching my technological advances with Instagram and, like, trying to do the right hashtags. So, like, trying to get all these cameras and everything that you guys
could
got
do
to say.
audio only, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you did just audio, all you need is this thing right here.
Yeah.
And the microphones.
Yeah, that's it.
And everything records right to that, and then you just take the chip out and just the same way you upload pictures, boom, on internet.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
We'll talk you into it later.
I'm
Or we have talked to a lot of people.
we got a business venture here.
Yeah. But you're in, so Florida Phase.
Yeah.
Is a part of like the Ranger, like what is Florida Phase?
So Florida Phase is like the last phase of Ranger School. So by the time they get to us, they know the right answer. But then now my biggest thing, like when I sit there as an instructor, and I think a lot of the other guys do the same thing, we try to get them, because they come from Mountain Phase, which Mountain Phase is like, hey, check the box. You know what you need to do, these steps to, do a raid or do an ambush or whatever you're doing. And so the cool thing about Florida, and the reason why I wanted to go to Florida, was because you kind of had the freedom of teaching, how you're going to instruct, and it's more real world. So and it kind of goes with Black Flag Nation's motto, "Train for Tomorrow's War." Hey,
that's like a hardcore motto.
Yeah.
That really gets you. Like,
it's something I've lived by. It's
simple
for a long
too.
Time. It is, and a lot of people are like, hey, what war? Like, what war are we getting ready for? It's like, bro, it could be like today, this morning, I was training for tomorrow's war. Why? Because I was getting ready for a podcast. Like, this war is my war right now, is this podcast. Not a crazy war.
You're just giving how you're treating whatever you're doing at that point in time.
Yeah.
The seriousness you would give.
Yeah.
A war scenario.
It could be like, hey, I got a presentation. All right, man, how you gonna prep for it? What are you thinking about questions that they might ask you? Like, you need to start prepping for that. It's being not getting complacent in your spot. So like, whatever, complacency kills a lot of people, literally and figuratively. Like, it kills your motivation, kills your drive, because you're like stuck in the now, and you're not really looking for what's in the present. So wake up every day and be like, hey, what's my war? That's another thing. It's like, what's your war? Do you have a war? Like, what's your goals? If you don't have goals,
you can't really fight a war if you haven't identified your enemy.
yeah, exactly. And your enemy could be a board meeting. It could be, that PR that you're trying to set in the gym, or, whatever, watching fucking, I don't know, the next YouTube channel that you, or discovering something, whatever you want to do, figure it out, and then set a goal towards it. So yeah, like in Florida phase, it's kind of like that. It's, I've had so many guys do so many weird shit on, like, granted, they're tired. They're using probably about 30% of their brain activity.
Yeah, their brain capacity, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. Some of the stuff that you see, you're just like, dude, what are you thinking? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And, like, my one question I ask them all, I'm like, would you do that in real life? And if it's a no, then why the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, do what makes sense. Would you
find guys, like, because they're so tired, they're overthinking.
Oh yeah,
being
100%.
like, it can't be this simple.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, when we say, hey, be simple, man, just be simple.
I hear stupid simple a lot from the character, from Bruce. Codename Bruce.
Codename Bruce.
I'm telling you, like, if you just keep it simple, even through life, like, you just keep it simple, sometimes the simple thing just blows people out of the water. And it's just like, oh shit. Like, the lessons those are simple. Like, to me, because I kind of grew up and I kind of learned through that, and I led guys in combat, and I've done certain things here and there.
It's really cool that you've acknowledged your ability to, like, reach back and, like, kind of, like, pull people forward.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the goal. Like, I haven't changed the mission on here. It says to pay tribute, train, and mentor, but I think more what I'm trying to do now is create a society, or create a culture of well-rounded leaders, and give them the information to be successful in tomorrow's war. And mentoring, like, obviously I'm here to mentor. I'm here to give you guys my, my fill on things. But at the same time, like, if I don't have it, I'm going to go try to find a way for you to get it. So, like, there's many people who are like, hey, your workout programs don't work for me. I'm like, cool, man. What do you need? And they'd be like, oh, I need this and this and this. And one of my favorite guys to pass it on to is another ranger, and it's Train Like a Ranger.
Yeah, I've seen that account.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool kid. He's a cool dude. Very humble. And I'm like, hey, have you checked out this dude? Like, just because you can't find it with me doesn't mean I'm gonna be like, oh, that sucks, bro. See you later. No, man, I'm gonna point you in the right direction. I'm not like one of those guys that's like, oh, my way is the highway. No, man, it's your way. So let's find your way. If it's not with me, how can you get the best, and how can I help you?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So it's a cool time to do stuff. I get a chance. This is actually the first time that my face will be out there too.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And face reveal.
Nobody
Damn.
knows who I am. And I kind of kept it that way because I didn't want people to be like, oh, you're just trying to make yourself famous. You're trying to be the Tim Kennedy, or,
Yeah, that's always a thing that, we've talked about, is how certain individuals kind of navigate, because the whole premise of what you guys do is there's like a quietness about it.
Yeah.
It's like, you go out and you do stuff, or you get called to do stuff that, like, it's just like there's no need, or maybe there's a reason not to talk about it, or like there's just no attention needed. And when you have someone that's like very much in the attention setting,
yeah,
it's a weird line to navigate. I don't really know enough about it to know how, or like the challenges that he's even experiencing, but I'm sure that there's like some agreements and different things.
Yeah.
Because I know Tim Kennedy, for instance, like I'm pretty sure he was or is attached to like a National Guard Special Forces group that like allows him. People are like, how's he like doing all this other stuff, but he's still deploying? I'm like, well, that's because he's technically still in, but it's like doing whatever he's want kind of thing.
And nothing against Tim Kennedy. He's doing a great job for like veterans and stuff out there. And I fully agree with a lot of stuff that he does. And there's some stuff like,
but it's not for you.
It's not for me.
Yeah. Which everybody understands, because that level of attention.
Yeah, no.
Especially with that career, it's just like there's a lot of downsides to being that out in the open.
And plus that I'm not one of those guys I'm not very good at seeking attention. So like people ask me for things, and I'm just like being a showcase host would never happen because I'm not that kind of guy. I'm very behind the scenes. I'm a quiet professional. Like, you know, ever since I got into, like, when I was a kid, I would get to the Ranger Battalion and I got pulled aside from this big guy. His name's Joseph Pope. Big squad leader, huge. Like, this guy's like, when I first met him, he was single arm snatching 205 over his arm with a barbell. Like,
What?
the guy's a monster.
He's just picking like the I weigh 160, so he's just
And he's like, he pulls me off to the side and he's like, "Hey, bro, don't say that you're a Ranger. Nobody gives a fuck. Just don't tell anybody that you're a Ranger. If I find out that you're doing that, I'm gonna fuck you up." And that was like my first, like, oh, okay. And like in battalion. So then from then on, it was just, you never told anybody. You never talked about your stories. That's the thing. Like, a lot of the sad thing right now, and it kind of sucks a little bit, is there's not a lot of stories out there about Rangers. Like, our story's not getting told, and it kind of sucks because you're seeing all these other guys' stories getting told, you know, the Lone Survivor, you know, all that stuff. Lone Survivor is a great movie, great story.
An interesting the whole story is a lot more interesting than what, well, like, how do I say this? The how the events actually played out and what the movie portrays are different.
Yeah.
And like the entire like energy around that situation is a lot different out in pop culture than I think the factual story.
Yeah, I think and even Marcus Luttrell came out and said that he was like, yeah, Hollywood kind of took some of it. And he's like, you know, we can't really, because Hollywood knows how Hollywood's going to be. But there's a whole nother side of that story that not a lot of people know. And it's about the Ranger Battalion, or the Rangers that went in to save Marcus Luttrell. Like, there's a whole nother story to that. And sadly, it may never get told. And it kind of sucks. We don't write books. I think there's like one book that has a bunch of us putting stories together that
well, there's not a lot of Green Beret books, there's not a lot of Ranger books since Vietnam.
Yeah.
Vietnam's like where all the books stopped.
Yeah, so there's one Ranger book, and it's written by a buddy of mine, Grady. It's The Night in the Peck Valley. It's about our company that got into a hellacious firefight, and we lost a couple of guys. And it's a good book. It's a good read, but nobody really knows about it. There's another book.
What's the book called?
The Night in the Peck Valley, or Petch Valley.
We're gonna have to.
PECH.
We're gonna be buying some books. Make sure we save these. So
yeah,
we can
that
add
one
these
right
to
there.
The orders.
The Night in the Peck Valley, and that's Grady down there. That's him.
Slice, do you have this book? No.
You don't have this book? Oh, Ranger. What the fuck? No. No, he's a great dude. He actually he's up in Atlanta. And he actually owns a tree cutting service, so he does a pretty good job for himself too. But great dude. And he wrote that book, and it's a good book. It's one of my favorites that I've read. And you can just tell it's the pain and the sacrifice that was there when you're reading it, and you're just like, wow, I can't believe that nobody really knows about this story.
Is this guy, like, if we wanted to reach out to this guy after we read the book, is that a thing?
Yeah, you might be able to. His tree service is Live the Rangers Creed Tree Service. It's up in Kennesaw.
That's a name right there.
Yeah, Live the Ranger Creed, and he by far is probably one of my favorite dudes. I haven't seen him in probably for a while. It's been a while. But yeah, I ran into him.
Time flies, right?
Dude, you have no idea. It's fucking crazy. Especially being in the armed services, like, you realize, like, shit, I left Ranger Battalion like 6-7 years ago. It doesn't feel like it. Feels like yesterday. I was like, bro.
Right, because you stopped in 17, you said?
Yeah, it stopped in 17.
Yeah, we're about to be 2022.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
So
like
crazy,
April,
right?
April of 2017. I was like,
I feel like 2022 is going to be a good year just because the numbers.
Yeah.
Just saying.
The numbers.
They're good. We got 20 and 22. They just seem like good numbers.
Yeah. So
I don't know if we're gonna. I mean, it's gonna bring us what it brings us.
It's great.
But I feel like we got it this year.
Okay.
23 though. That's a messy number.
I don't know, man. 23 year of Jordan.
LeBron,
Yeah,
Jordan.
his birthday's on the 23rd.
Yeah,
That's the problem. Is like Michael Jordan kind of has the 23.
Yeah,
He's kind of kidnapped him. I don't know.
it's okay though.
Yeah.
Maybe we
figure
can
it out.
bring it back. Bring
Yeah.
it back from Jordan.
Maybe.
Maybe what he'll do is make it the year of Jordan though, and still, make it all about him.
Yeah, probably.
Dude,
Well-
what if 2023 was just like Jordan announces he's running for president?
That'd be fucking wild. I don't know how good of an idea that is. but-
That would be crazy.
Honestly, the stories that would probably come out about him to try
yeah.
and slander him
Oh, yeah.
would be insane.
Well,
Gambler.
the story's coming out.
Gambling, strip club,
Yeah.
Jordan was an animal on and off the court.
Yeah.
But you also got like stories coming out about Magic Johnson, even after all 40 years. Like,
Yeah,
they're
that's-
still coming out.
Dude, yeah, it's weird though because you always see serial killers that have a huge mess of women that are like, marry me. So it's dude, you Magic Johnson's clearly got the
Yeah.
he's got the energy.
He's got the energy still.
He's like, hey, look, I'll give you a death sentence if you want to go on a date with me, and they're like, yeah,
Yeah, sure.
for sure. What?
No,
Let's do
so another book is another friend of mine. His name's and actually one of my stories is in this because it's a whole bunch of us, and he came to me about it, and he was
You
like,
authored a story, or you just
I
provided the?
I provided the story. I basically wrote it because it was a personal experience of my own, and I gave it to him, and I was like, hey, you can put this in your book, and it's
what book is this?
It's called Violence of Action: The Untold Stories of the 75th Ranger Regiment.
Oh man, we're going shopping.
That one right there.
Wait. It doesn't have anything to do with Steven Seagal.
No, it doesn't have any. That's like
Oh my god, how have you seen that movie? Yo. He definitely went to the who's the guy who just shot that poor girl? Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
He went to the Alec Baldwin School of Gun Control.
Yeah, look at his
Look
fingers.
Look at that
finger.
trigger discipline.
Wow.
He's about to shoot the dude holding the light next to him.
This is bad.
Terrible.
Steven Seagal fakes being Native American. He fakes being a karate mat. It's just
Have you seen some of those karate matches that he does? He's just barely moving his
He's
hand,
into,
and everybody's
Wing Chun.
going across. Is dude, this isn't Kill Bill, bro.
nah. But he's also people don't realize he's also in law enforcement.
He is. He is actually.
Scary.
You know who else is in law enforcement that kind of surprised me?
Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah,
Dude,
Shaq.
Could you
dude.
imagine running into that
He's
guy?
an LA cop.
Just I'd probably get arrested by Shaq. For the heck
I'd
of
be like, hey, Shaq,
what do I got to do here?
can you sign the back of my shirt while you're handcuffing me?
Just pull a Sharpie out of your back
just-
pocket, dude.
yeah.
I've been ready for this moment.
It's in the back. It's in my back pocket. Just grab it. It's right there.
I always keep a Sharpie.
I ran into him one time at a Ranger Rendezvous in Columbus, Georgia. Some weird ass. It was a weird ass club, and he's sitting in the back, and he's got a bunch of people around him. And we're at Ranger Rendezvous, and you don't know what Ranger Rendezvous is you need to go with your brother. You need to go to Ranger Rendezvous because it is past and present Rangers all get together, and they all just drink, and they swap stories, and it is the coolest, funnest times. You're going to meet Rangers from the 80s, the 60s, whoever's alive and spent any time in a Ranger regiment or anything, they're there. And they're cool. They're cool as shit. World War II Rangers. I don't know if there's any more.
Yeah, we better get there quick if we're gonna catch
bro.
any of those dudes.
I'll tell you what, it is cool as shit. But we were there, and I was just hanging out with some friends of mine, and we were drinking downtown Columbus, which no Rangers should ever be doing. Even the third bat guys, I have mad respect for third bat guys because they go down there all the time, and they are a force of nature, and I can always see why they're mad because everybody's trying to beat them up. It's crazy. But yeah, we went into this club, and he's sitting in the back, and he's just chill, man. And I was like, "Oh, hey, Shaquille O'Neal, I'm a big fan." He's like, "Yeah, it's cool, bro. Just keep it on down low, man." I was like, "All right, cool. Hey, nice to meet you." And I shook his hand, and his fingers come all the way back.
Damn.
Blah, fuck.
Tentacles.
This guy could kill me.
He can't make a free throw to save his life.
But
though,
yeah,
so.
Violence of Action is actually a bunch of stories put together from guys from all over the bats.
So it's like a compilation of a bunch of different.
Yeah, so it's by far one of the books that's made me laugh, cry, and have PTSD moments all within like 20 minutes.
Damn.
So it's pretty deep. There's some pretty good writers in there that visual like tell their story pretty visually. And one of the stories in there is Haditha Dam. It's like 20 pages long, and this guy went into detail about it, and it's cool as shit. Like I had to stop reading it because I was just like, fuck, I can't. It was just deep.
Stuff needs to get written down, because if you don't realize about your own memory, like if you don't write it down and come back and like read your own words back, like you never remember anything clearly.
Bro, it took me 6 months to write my story. Like I was just like, I was going through like everything I could find. I was talking to guys that were there. I used to have, so I kind of did something wrong, but I had like every single radio call that was ever made that night. And it was like a book like this. And it would go from one side of my house to the other side and back. And it was just long. And you can just read every single radio call was ever made by any aircraft, by any personnel on the ground. And it was just crazy. And you got to sit there and cipher it. And like, I'm trying to get it right. Like I am not going to put my story in a book and
Mess it up.
Yeah. And like the sequence is all messed up. And I think it did pretty well, because one of the guys that was there too, he wrote his story. He was actually shot in the jugular. He was one of our SNOT guys, which is our sniper Overwatch teams. And he wrote his story, and his and I's kind of like intertwine. Like it was perfect.
Damn,
so
that's pretty cool.
yeah,
In the neck.
It was a good time.
Right in the neck.
Bro, the guy's tough. That dude, some of the stuff I've seen him do that day was crazy. It was it's a good time to talk about it now. And like, he's very humble about it. He's just like, yo, what's up? Kind of chill. And I think all of us are the same way, but you ever want to meet like somebody that's just straight up G? That guy is a pretty straight up G. He's a cool dude. His name's Eric Cox. Sorry, Eric, if I drop your name, if you ever watch this. But
shout out to Eric. We're looking for you.
Yeah, we're looking for you. You want to get somebody on a podcast? That's the guy. But yeah, I all these stories just, they're never gonna get told. But the best thing I can do is really like anybody. Some of the stories I send on, like talk about on Black Flag Nation, like leadership stuff, is a lot of guys that I watched growing up. Like when I say growing up, I mean like growing up in the battalion. We use that because when we get in, we're 19 years old. When I left, I was 29. So I grew up in Ranger Battalion watching guys that were way better than me and learning from them and kind of building my own leadership style. And then by the time I stepped into a leadership position, I kind of had it figured out. And I've kind of started to realize not a lot of people have it figured out. So the best thing that you can do is share the information. And
It's like you and Jocko Willink, I think.
Yeah.
Have it figured out.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't compare myself to Jocko.
definitely. Yeah, I don't think
He's cool.
He's
I
a
would love to meet
specimen of a human. People know him for different reasons. Like some people know him because he was a Navy SEAL. Some people know him from like the jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah. Yeah,
some people know him because he's like a business consultant.
Yeah. And he's a thick man.
Yeah, if you've ever gotten
He's a
the
big
privilege
boy.
to see Jocko in person, it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
But he's so cool. Like
Yeah.
I would love to sit in the room and just be like, hey man.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely a little taller than me. I think he's like 5'10" probably.
Yeah.
But he's like as wide as the door.
Yeah, he's just thick.
It's like, how do you fit through doors, dude?
He's a big guy, and you can just tell like looking in people's eyes, you can just be like, yeah, that guy's a killer. Like he's got the killer mentality. That's another thing I use too a lot is like, do you have a killer mentality? Do you have like, can you go out in the world and get what you want and like drive to get it? And that's another thing too. Like having a killer mentality goes everything into, training for tomorrow's war. You really got to go out and get what you want, whatever it is, and set yourself up for success. But that's, I think Jocko does. I think when he talks about that too. He's like, always.
It's just such like when you learn about his entire career, he makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
like you really his like professional career and everything. Like you're like, oh well, like he's such a good leader because he literally is the most well-rounded leader to come through there. He has, I think his last job before he was in charge of SEAL Team 3 was like he was the aide to the admiral of the Navy. And so like he got like he got highest level of admin experience and then dropped back down and then ran an entire, like he just like went all over the Navy.
Yeah, that's like somebody has that kind of.
But he was in there for like 20 years.
Yeah, 20.
So
I've been in 13. I'm coming up. I got 7 more years left. Dude.
Yeah, so maybe we can inch up on some Jocko experiences.
Maybe. That'd be good.
Just get you a lot of meat and squats.
I think I could.
That's probably all he has on you now.
I just run.
Is thick legs.
Yeah, I just run. Oh, I don't have thick legs. Yeah,
you don't have Jocko legs. I mean, this is what it is.
Dude,
it takes years of just. I don't even know how. Like you got to be born that thick. I think, at a certain degree.
A lot of that's genetics.
Not discounting how strong he is at his age, but
yeah. How old is he? He's
got to be in his late 50s, early 50s, maybe.
He's cool as shit though.
He could be younger than that though. He could be.
Yeah, he could be.
But he's got teenage kids though.
The military kind of like runs you into the ground. Like you look older than you really are. Like I've seen.
That's true.
I've seen some guys that come in, they're like, yeah, they're 35. I'm like, dude, that guy looks like he's 60. What the fuck? Like I'm 32, and I have people tell me, they're like, bro, you look like you're 40. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm 50.
32, yeah, you're younger than I am.
Yeah, like I was
by
looking
a year.
Yeah, I was looking in the
math.
mirror. I was looking, math. I was looking in the mirror the other day, and I was like, fuck, I've never this is like probably the first time I had a beard in like a long time. And I have grays in my beard. And I was like, bro, I'm going to be able to grow a beard in here in 7 years. And it's going to be snow white. I'm not even going to get a joy. Like,
do you have any weird beard hairs that like grow? Like I have hairs that like grow longer or faster than other hairs that are gray. And it's like, whoa, buddy.
I don't know, but there's like a portion.
It's like sneaking out.
There's like a portion in here where like it grows like this and it's just poking into my face. And I'm just like, I don't know how people
I have that underneath here. It's like this whole like this side is fighting this side.
Yeah, you got the Leonidas.
when I like shave, I have to like be like, oh no, left side, don't fight the right.
So many people tell me there too. They're like, just keep pushing through. Let the beards. It's an art form. It takes everything in your mind. They're just like, just don't quit. Don't quit.
Could you grow for those that are worried about it? Could you grow a beard when you were like 29?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I used to. So
there's no hope for you guys listening.
I'm sorry, guys. I think when I figured out I could grow a beard was like 2010. Our platoon split in half, and we were in Mez in Afghanistan. It's a German operated base, and they allowed us to grow our beards. So I had a 3-week long. It was probably about this size, but it was pretty gnarly. So yeah, I could grow a beard. I think
Germans.
Yeah, the Germans. They're pretty cool too overseas. They're always like, they want to party, man. That's all they want to do. They want to drink and
my extent of knowing about active German warrior types are Instructor Zero, I think, is German, right?
I've never even heard that.
Yeah. Austrian maybe. Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's all the same, right?
Yeah. At one point, it was technically the same place.
Sorry if you're Austrian. I'm sorry. You're not the same as Germany. I know.
That's okay. Somebody during a trivia thing the other day got Austria confused with Australia.
Yeah. There's a big difference.
And the question was, where is Arnold Schwarzenegger from? He's like, Australia. And I was like, no, buddy. No.
Could you imagine if he was really from Australia? He'd be like, hey, mate. Comes
yo, hi, mate. And just like flicks his pecs.
I'll be back. Mate.
I'm going to go out to the Barbie. Just like flicks.
I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger would be very intimidating.
Yeah, I was just thinking
Australia.
that.
Like he'd be super chill. He'd be like, where like Austrians have like that sense of like, I don't know, intensity.
It's not a tumor.
Yeah, they're so intense. Which I've only met like 2 or 3 people, and they're very intense people. It's like,
yeah. So your population said is 3 people.
Yeah, pretty much.
and 3 of them are. I mean, that's a.
High ratio.
I mean, we got to find some nice non-yelling Germans in here quick, or this number is just going to be written into history.
It's gonna get bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I forget where I was going with that. Great books. Highly recommend them, especially if you're Rangers. There's another book out there. It's another Ranger book that is, I've totally forgot about this, but it's about another SEAL book, but I think a Ranger wrote it. I don't know. But it's a Ranger responding to a SEAL that fell out of the back of a helicopter. It's Rogers Ridge. It's the Battle of Tokugawa. Every Ranger knows about it. EP112 was involved in it. We lost I think it was 4 guys from 1st Ranger Battalion in 2002. They're like the first ones of the whole GWAT. So they were the very first ones. And then in 1st Ranger Battalion, we didn't lose another guy until 2009. So 7 years. We went through a 7-year drought of losing a guy. So that was kind of cool. And then obviously 2010 came around and we lost a couple more guys. But it's Rogers Ridge. It's a pretty good one. It's about a SEAL team guy fell out of the helicopter, and it was a rescue mission. Who's the TAC P guy that got the Medal of Honor?
Is it Miller?
No, there's a whole, like, if you go,
It's gonna be a movie.
yes, it's gonna be a movie. I think it's gonna be the coolest movie because the motherfucker is a badass.
If
The
they
guy,
do it right, it's gonna be.
yeah, it's gonna be better than Lone Survivor. I highly like.
All right. So what are we doing here? We're Googling.
So it's
Dude, Roberts Ridge.
Yeah.
TACP and auto fucking.
yeah.
You said Robert?
Roberts
Ridge.
and TACP.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. There he is. He's Roberts Ridge right there. Yep, that one. That guy. Man, what's his name? I can't. Fuck.
Just click on it. I'll get it.
I feel so bad too. I'm really good at memorizing guys that who have passed. Chapman.
John
There
Chapman.
we go. John Chapman. His story. It's even on my page. Like, I saw.
Is this the guy that goes up on the snow hill?
Yeah.
Is this the snow hill one where they get separated?
Yes.
Where they get separated?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
I've
guy
seen that
is
video.
amazing. Like, his story, it's like the first Medal of Honor it's ever been videoed.
Oh,
they-
yeah.
Like, it's probably like the easiest Medal of Honor that you could probably give somebody.
Yeah, because they get like in a melee in waist deep snow,
Yeah.
uphill,
Yeah.
lobbing shit back and forth.
There's a thing on there too. A lot of people got upset when I posted a video because they were like, "Well, we never leave anybody behind, and the SEALs just left people behind." And I was like, "You gotta understand, like, they're under hellacious fire."
And they also kind of lost him too.
Yeah. So the 2 people that they leave. So one guy, so he ends up getting mortally injured and like basically dies. And so they're like, okay, now we got 2 dead people on the hill, and they're still in the firefight. And then like their 60 gunner gets shot in the leg or the arm or something. So they got another casualty. So instead of losing a 3rd guy, they pulled off the mountain to get out of there so that they didn't lose anybody. And a lot of people are like, well, they just left Chapman up there. It's like, yeah, but you got to understand, common knowledge for them at that time was Chapman was dead. So you got 2 dead guys on there, and you got another guy that's mortally wounded. You got to get the guy mortally wounded off of there. So as a leader, I would have done the same thing. I would have made the same call. It kind of sucks because you don't want to leave your
You're
buddies.
limiting the collateral damage. At
Right?
that point.
Yeah, you're trying not to lose more guys. And a lot of people are like, well, they left them, and I was
You don't throw like good after bad. You don't want to like get more invested into a situation.
No, especially if you're down like basically a saw gunner. That's a lot of bullets going down the range, and SEALs work in a smaller group than Rangers. So they left, and then Chapman comes back to life basically, and then continues to fight. And then that's when the Rangers went in for QRF, which is Quick Reaction Force. They went in and basically fought that and lost 4 other guys. But the whole point was to get everybody off the hill that was alive. And at that time, it was Chapman that they were going for. And
That's going to be
the
an
rest is,
crazy movie.
Damn.
if they
bro,
do
it's
it.
going to be a awesome movie. I will definitely be going to see that in the theaters. Usually I wait like a couple of days later, like let the hype like settle
Yeah,
down,
yeah.
and then I'll go see it. No, I'll go see this like Thursday night.
Yeah, the
midnight.
night. Yeah.
I'm going to go see this.
Yeah, it'll be the first time I go to the movies in like 3 years.
Yeah, yeah, that's
awesome,
That
man.
sucks.
Dude, I'm so pumped you came on the show.
Yeah,
This
man.
was a good time.
Yeah, that's,
I feel like we learned a lot.
yeah, absolutely.
We got some new books to read.
Yeah, right.
New books to read. Also coming out with a leadership program. It might launch this summer. I'm working with another guy. He's a retired Marine.
Okay.
We're coming out with a leadership program. So backing up with what we're saying here, and people can basically get pitched how to be a better leader and in the corporate world and trying to figure that out. So
Yeah, figure out how to make money.
yeah, not really. I'm not really into the money. I'm just passing it around. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it, but
Yeah, but you teach people how to make money.
Oh,
by,
yeah,
like,
oh, yeah.
being civilized leaders.
yeah, civilized leaders and how to lead people to be more, I don't know, like solve problems and get other people to join on with you and want to work for you. So work output better, I guess. So
Dude, we'll have to keep our eye out for that. Dude, I really appreciate you coming
yeah,
on.
no problem, brother.
Dude, thanks so much.
Thanks for hitting me up.
So people can find you at Black Flag Nation _ on Instagram. Is
Yeah.
that where you're mainly?
Yeah,
active
that's
or
yeah, I have a
blackflagnation.com.
TikTok, but I just post videos that I have on here. It's just more people to reach out to. But yeah, Black Flag Nation _ if you guys ever want to hit me up, I will most likely talk to you if you're not like trying to.
A Chinese bot.
Yeah, if you're not a Chinese bot and try not to sell me your OnlyFans, then yeah, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you all day long. Some people just go, hello, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And they're just like, oh, it's nice meeting you. Oh, cool. Nice meeting you too. It's weird. It happens.
So come with questions.
Yeah, come with questions. I'll try to answer them, and if I can't answer them, then I'll find somebody else who can.
Dude, awesome so much. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
You hit the subscribe button and yeah, keep listening. We appreciate all the new listeners that keep coming and joining and coming into the show here. So
Oh yeah,
thanks to all you guys.
There's one thing.
Go for it.
I don't know if you guys do this, but if you're watching this, I launched a promo code. So if you do watch this, promo code podcast, you can get a percentage off of anything on my store. So blackflagnation.com.
Get up there
Wow,
and
look
shop.
at that.
Your logo's
There you go.
badass. So
Look at
definitely worth something. We know. So John will probably buy something for sure.
Yeah.
I'll buy something.
All
I got a
day.
promo code. I'm going.
Yeah, right.
Can't. Once you get that promo code in your hand, you just can't stop.
Yeah, you got to use it.
You got to use it. So thanks for listening. Hit the subscribe button and share the show.